Good evening, friends. Friends, tomorrow it's Eid, and please accept my greetings and also convey Eid greetings from my side to your family, to your friends, to everybody. And today's topic is important because there has been some voice of concern raised by foreign policy chief of the European Union, Mr. Joseph Borrell, on Friday. And on Friday, he said that he quotes that trust and reciprocity were the necessary ingredients for European Union and China relationship. And the background of this statement came because on Friday itself, President Xi Jinping of China, he talked on telephone with the Hungarian Prime Minister, Mr. Viktor Orban, and where Chinese president said that China firmly supports the United Nations and WHO in fighting with the pandemic and is ready to work with all the countries. And in return, Mr. Viktor Orban, he also committed that he want to work with China, and he want to work with the 17+1 platform which is being created by China. I will come upon it in details what is this 17+1 platform. And while talking as per the Xinhua, which is the news agency of China, there was no mention from Mr. Orban's side about the European Union. He is committing himself to work with alongside with China plus 17+1 in fight against coronavirus. And Mr. Xi Jinping also praised the works of Mr. Orban, Viktor Orban, regarding the control of coronavirus crisis in Hungary. Right now, we all know that what Mr. Viktor Orban has done in his country. He has imposed emergency and on pretext of coronavirus crisis to control coronavirus, and he is ruling the country by decree. So he is ruling in very undemocratic means there in Hungary, and whole world is writing op-ed in most of the big newspapers of the world. You will find op-ed articles about it. You will find editorials about it. Even on social media, if you follow international think tanks, they are also writing about it. But Xi Jinping is praising him. Then Mr. Orban, Joseph Borrell, he further says that developing a joint European Union approach to superpowers is never easy, as each member state has its own viewpoints and sensitivities, and the China case is no exception. What's more, China is not shy about sometimes playing on these differences, but surely it is up to us Europeans to maintain the necessary collective discipline. Unity is a precondition for influence, since not even the biggest member state acting alone can influence a superpower. Now, if you look at Lion, see, he's a bureaucrat, top bureaucrat of European Union. He won't say anything openly, but his word means there's a lot of meaning between the lines. So he is saying that China is a superpower, and if we have to resist the influence of China within the European Union, we have to be collective. We have to give a collective response. We have to deal with the situations in a very, you can say, orderly manner, in a collective manner, so that China can't misuse the fissures between the members of the European Union states. That he further says that not even the single most powerful state unilaterally can resist superpower. In this case, the superpower is calling to China, and he also says that China tries to use the issues between countries to influence them for its own purposes, to meet its own ends. Then he further says that changes in the European Union and China relationship has accelerated as the COVID-19 pandemic has played out. China made sure the world knew of its add efforts while the EU has been more discreet. So he wants to say that European Union also helped China and other countries who are fighting with coronavirus crisis, poor countries which are fighting with coronavirus crisis, plus even the well-to-do countries were having shortages of ventilators, PPE kits, everything was there. So because nobody was 100% prepared to deal with the crisis, and European Union also helped the countries as well as China helped the countries, but China made sure that the world should know that what help it is giving to the world and other countries, whereas European Union was helping discreetly. And I think it's a good policy, because in such humanitarian crisis, you should not go on propagating what you are doing. I think here he's right, correct. The key point is, he further says that the key point is that we should all demonstrate mutual support and international solidarity, and the European Union has always proven how strong its commitment is while avoiding the politicalization of emergency medical assistance. Means he is directly targeting China, that China is politicalizing, misusing an emergency aid which you are giving in time of humanitarian crisis. So it's a direct attack on China by a top official of the European Union. Now, I too feel something. Then further, let me talk about what he said. Then I will come to my research also on the same topic. Then he further says that both the European Union and China often state their commitment to promoting multilateralism and the UN system, but we also need to acknowledge that our approaches on multilateralism differ. The difference lay in the universality and individuality of human rights, or when it comes to United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea and tensions in the South China Sea. In the cyber area, both sides emphasize the need for a multilateral approach, but China's state-centric stance contrast with the EU's multi-stakeholder approach based on respect of fundamental rights and freedom. It's true. The approach is definitely different. China may be calling that its approach is multilateral approach, but when it comes to human rights, we all know how much the respect for human rights the communist government is having. Yes, European Union has a much better record, finer record of human rights, respect for human rights, and as well as when it comes to law of sea in international waters, and even in the country's territory, sea waters, there is huge difference in the approach. Look at what's happening in South China Sea. Let it be Vietnam, let it be Indonesia, let it be Taiwan, any country. None of the neighbors, let it be Japan, all the neighbors of China are having some problem or another with China in that region of South China Sea. And when it even comes to cyber security and cyber issues, China and EU both says that multilateralism is necessary. But European Union's approach is for different countries of the Union. It's not just one country concentrated, whereas China's is one country concentrated, plus it's not based upon human rights, freedom of speech. That doesn't exist there in China, because you know that Twitter is not there, Facebook is not there, Google is not there. They are having their own platforms which are highly monitored by the government of China. So in crux, even he accuses China of misusing the platform of WTO. He says that in WTO, China always says that they respect WTO, its mechanism for dispute solution, but it's just in words but not in action. So he is blaming China even on account of actions of China in the World Trade Organization. Now let me come to my research. See, if you look at the background, why he says all these things, when he says all these things, he is quoting all these things on pretext of telephonic conversation between Xi Jinping and Viktor Orban of Hungary. And Mr. Xi Jinping has also contacted Angela Merkel, who is the Chancellor of Germany, Mr. Macron, who is the President of France, but he is contacting leaders of countries individually, but he has not contacted a single office bearer of the European Union. Definitely, it's a problem for European Union. They are raising their issue. Plus, they think that there are many differences between European Union countries. Definitely, there is a big difference between North and South. The South is comparatively poorer. North of the European Union, northern countries, they are much prosperous, and this gap between the poorer South and richer North has increased during the COVID-19 crisis, when there was no open heart, big heart by the North to donate money to the South, even when they are donating. Now when they are taking a collective responsibility for the crisis money which the European Union is giving, it's almost 1/4 of what is required or what is being demanded by the poorer countries. So there are fissures between them, especially between North and South. And now Mr. Viktor Orban of Hungary, what he is talking about? He is talking about cooperating with OnePlus17 platform. And what is this OnePlus17 platform? Let me tell you about this. This OnePlus17 platform consists of 18 countries. One is China, which is leading it, and 17 are rest other countries belonging to Central Europe and Eastern Europe. And this OnePlus17 platform was established in the year 2012 by the Foreign Ministry of China to benefit China for trade and commerce in these countries, and main target was the Belt and Road Initiative. They want the Belt and Road Initiative to reach in the countries of Eastern Europe as well as the Central Europe. So what China is doing here, it is trying to misuse the fissures between the states, various states of the European Union, and divide and rule policy is working over here. Now let me tell you which all countries are there in the 17+1 platform. You will wonder that what is this happening? It comes definitely China is there, which is leading OnePlus17 platform. Then there is Albania. Albania is a small country of about I think 2 million population. It was a former communist party regime. Now it's a democratic country. Then there is Bosnia and Herzegovina. Then there is Bulgaria. Now look at Bulgaria. Bulgaria is European Union country. Then there is Croatia. Croatia is also EU country. Then Czech Republic, again a EU country. Estonia, again an EU country. Greece, EU country. Hungary, with whose Prime Minister Viktor Orban, Xi Jinping talked, it's again an European country. Latvia, Lithuania, both are European Union country. Then you have North Macedonia. North Macedonia just about 20 or 25 days back, it joined the NATO alliance. So there is also a country which is from NATO and it is working on the Chinese platform. Then you have Montenegro. Then you have Poland. Poland is also EU country. Romania, again it is a European Union country. Serbia, it's one of the close ally of Russia plus China, and it is being said that within 3 years it will be under the fold of EU. So one more EU aspirant. Then Slovakia and Slovenia, both are EU countries. Then you have Macedonia, another country, not an EU country. So China is working on that. And this 17+1 platform since 2001 has done various meetings and summits. And these meetings were held in Bulgaria, Croatia, Hungary, Romania, Poland. So it looks very clear that China want to use, quote unquote, misuse the gaps and differences between various partners of the European Union to spread this influence and to counter the effect of European Union against China and Chinese expansionism of markets, to use it for its own benefit. And my research says that even PESCO, which was formed 2 years back, and this PESCO It was formed with the purpose that European Union countries must have their own strong military. They must all fund that military in terms of research and buying of equipment, so that they are less dependent on the United States and NATO. But I don't feel that it's going to happen, because after coronavirus, definitely Italy won't be paying, Spain won't. Anyway, Spain is not paying. Plus, Brexit put a big hole in the finances of EU. So I think that PESCO is also a failure. Now let's see how it everything goes on, and I think United States have to take a leading role, both practically and economically as well, if it wants the EU to survive. Otherwise, it looks to me like that within matter of years or months, Italy may quit the Union. And write it, bet with me that once Italy quits, within 3 years there will be Brexit. If no France and no Italy is there, then what's the meaning of European Union? So I'm watching everything, I'm studying. I'll come to you with other research. Till then, bye bye, good night.